This is the Bentley Continental GT, and it's basically unbelievable. I mean, literally. Check this out. This is the most powerful production Bentley ever made, yet it's more fuel efficient than a Renault Clio. It's the most comfortable Continental GT ever made, yet it handles like a supercar. And it's a plug-in hybrid, yet you never actually have to plug it in. They should have called it the Bentley Contradiction GT. Yes, the 6-litre W12 twin-turbo is dead. The Continental GT is a plug-in hybrid now, and you might be getting a bit nervous, like, wait a second, aren't plug-in hybrids for airport taxis? However, there's one very good reason we shouldn't worry. Well, 771 good reasons, actually. This thing has 771 horsepower. It makes the W12 speed look like an asthmatic pipe smoker. Bentley has fitted the new Continental with what they call an ultra-performance hybrid powertrain, and they've spent 5 years developing it from scratch. It combines a 4-litre V8 turbo engine and a 190 horsepower electric motor, both driving all 4 wheels through an 8-speed dual-clutch gearbox. Total torque is 1,000 Newton meters, and it gets the car to 62 miles an hour in 3.3 seconds and onto 208 miles per hour. The electric bits are good for up to 50 miles of zero emissions driving on a single charge at speeds of up to 99 miles per hour. And the battery is mounted behind the rear axle to give the car perfect 50-50 weight distribution. So, the result is performance that lays waste to any Continental GT in history, like ever, including all the super sport stuff, and a car that is 100 horsepower more than the Aston Martin DB12, yet it emits just 36 grams per kilometre of CO2, making this one of the most efficient petrol cars on the market today at any price. That's bonkers. But you might be looking at this and thinking, what's the difference? I can see why. It's very familiar. That's because design-wise, it's basically a facelift, despite Bentley calling it a new generation car. There's a new wheel design and the lower bumpers tweaked a bit, but it's mostly very familiar. Aside from these, where 2 have become 1, this is the first Continental GT where they have single headlamps either side. The lights are now elliptical rather than round, so it's gone from slightly shocked and surprised to suspicious and aggressive looking. But like everything in this Bentley, any Bentley for that matter, the detail is truly impressive. Look closely and you'll see the deep crystal cut diamond effect in the light clusters, a pattern mirrored in the taillights too. They're greyed out until you press the brakes, when the tips of the diamond shapes are highlighted to create a molten lava effect. Inside? Well, there's not much to report. Considering all that Bentley have done to change the drivetrain, inside, there's not so much. I mean, that's no bad thing, seeing as this is still one of the finest examples of one of the most luxury car cabins ever made. It's opulent, classy, and fancy pants. Literally. Apparently, Bentley say that their materials are inspired by high fashion. Mind you, they would say that, wouldn't they? They're not exactly going to put on a Primark pack. Although they could now, seeing as the running costs are so low. The only major interior change to report is an option to dechrome the dashboard. And some of the seat embroidery is a bit different. Oh, and the software is updated, including wireless smartphone mirroring, remote parking assist using the Bentley app, and remote charging. It comes as a convertible or a coupe from day one, but either way, you'll struggle with the rear seats, unless you're way below average sized. Hey ho, it was ever thus. So, let's get out of here and talk more about something that definitely wasn't ever thus. Yes, plug-in hybrid. Thing is, we already know that hybrids can be both fast and efficient. Sadly, we also know that hybrids can be about as much fun as an election debate.
So, will the absolute power of this Continental corrupt it absolutely? Or will it become the ultimate dual-purpose car, the definitive grand tourer, as Bentley claims?
I have to say, it's looking promising. For example, the electric motor eliminates turbo lag and boosts low-end torque, so throttle response should be sharper than it is even in the W12 speed. The e-motor also fills in the torque gaps during gear changes, so you should get the smoothest shifts imaginable. But what happens when the battery dies?
Bentley's solution to this is a charge mode that uses the engine to both drive the wheels and charge the battery when you're just meandering along, so most of the time basically. All hybrids have a brake-based regenerative charging function. This does too, but Bentley says its charge mode means you'll never actually have to plug the car in, and it'll still function properly.
Which means you'll have maximum power, which is a good thing because Bentley are making bold claims about the Continental GT's dynamic ability. They're calling this a daily supercar, which is not necessarily how you would have described the previous version, which was much more of a GT.
How are they managing this? Aside from the outright speed and the 50-50 weight distribution, its active all-wheel drive system can send all the power to the rear. The all-wheel steering setup is carried over from the GT Speed, so this will be the sharpest to steer standard Continental GT ever. The adaptable suspension is brand new, with very wide bandwidth and much quicker response times than before. In other words, it makes the car more comfortable, but also better at reducing body roll in sport mode. And the torque vectoring and electronic differential have been retuned to send power exactly where it's needed, instantaneously, across all four wheels.
It all adds up to a car that should be better at both ends of the spectrum. It should be quicker and more involving to drive at one end, and yet quieter, more comfortable and more efficient at the other. In theory, you could use this as a zero emissions car and pay basically nothing in fuel. Too good to be true? Will this be more desirable than the Aston Martin DB12 or the Ferrari Roma? Let us know what you think in the comments.